Every person with an autoimmune disease has been told some version of the same thing. Your immune system is attacking you. And most people spend years, sometimes decades, trying to calm that attack with anti-inflammatory diets, immunosuppressant medications, elimination protocols, and stress management. All of it aimed at trying to calm the immune system. But here's what almost no one explains clearly. Your immune system may not be randomly malfunctioning. It may actually be responding to signals that's coming from your own environment, especially your gut. Because inside your immune system, there are entire cells whose job is to tell it when to stop and calm down. They are the regulators, the decision makers. And when those cells are not functioning properly, your immune system doesn't know when to stand down. So it reacts, and it reacts some more, and it keeps reacting. Now, these cells in charge of calming your immune system are called T-regulatory cells, also referred to as T-Regs. And one of the key signals that keeps these cells functioning properly is produced by your gut bacteria, and it's called butyrate. And today I want to walk you through this process because understanding it changes the way that you think about autoimmune disease and how you manage it. Hi, I'm Lauren Grace, acupuncturist, integrative medicine physician, and co-founder of Healus. And along with my co-founder Brian, we have a combined 30 years of experience in integrative medicine. And during our time in practice, we worked with a lot of autoimmune patients. And I want to speak directly to those of you that are struggling with autoimmune conditions like Hashimoto's, MS, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and psoriasis, because I know how much work you've probably already done. You've researched, you've changed your diet, you've sat in doctor's offices asking questions, and often not getting answers that felt complete. When Brian and I were in clinical practice, we would run comprehensive gut panels for all of our autoimmune patients. And what we saw consistently was this: even in patients that were eating well, and even in patients that were taking in fermented foods and taking probiotics, there were always underlying gut issues. These panels would show us markers of inflammation, imbalances in the microbiome, low diversity, and signs that the gut environment was experiencing dysbiosis, or basically not functioning the way it should. Now, these patients weren't doing anything wrong, but the gut environment itself had been disrupted, and that changes how the immune system behaves. So in this video, I want to show you why that happens and also how to address it. Let's start with the foundation. Your gut lining is a barrier, and that barrier is just about one cell layer thick, and it's the only thing that is separating the contents in your digestive tract from your bloodstream. Now, these cells are held together by what I like to call the Velcro of the gut lining. It's called tight junction proteins. And when those tight junction proteins are intact, the barrier is selective. It allows nutrients to pass through, and it keeps things like toxins and bacteria inside the gut where they belong. But when those tight junction proteins become disrupted, which can happen from things like antibiotics, highly processed foods, chronic stress, alcohol, the barrier becomes more permeable. And this is what is referred to as leaky gut or intestinal permeability. And this is very relevant when it comes to autoimmune conditions. Research shows that many autoimmune diseases are associated with increased intestinal permeability. It's not necessarily the only cause, but it's a key piece of the environment that allows immune dysregulation to develop in the first place. Now, when the gut barrier becomes more permeable, fragments of certain type of bacteria called LPS or lipopolysaccharides can cross into the bloodstream. Now, LPS is meant to stay inside your gut. When it enters circulation, your immune system sees it as a threat, and it responds by triggering the release of inflammatory cytokines, which creates low-grade, ongoing immune activation. And if that gut barrier isn't repaired, then that signal just keeps happening and never really turns off. And over time, this chronic immune activation can start to influence how the immune system behaves with the rest of your body. Now, under normal conditions, your immune system does have a built-in system to prevent it from attacking your own tissues. And this system is your T-regulatory cells. T-Regs are responsible for maintaining what's called tolerance. They help your immune system distinguish between what is you and what is not you. And when they are functioning properly, they are going to suppress your immune system from attacking your own tissues. They are essentially like an internal off switch to keep your immune system in check. But when T-Regs are reduced or are not functioning properly, that regulation starts to break down, and the immune system can start reacting in ways that are no longer appropriate. In Hashimoto's, it attacks the thyroid. In rheumatoid arthritis, the joints. In multiple sclerosis, the nervous system. Different tissues, but a similar breakdown in regulation. So the question becomes, what influences whether T-Regs are functioning properly or not? And one of the key factors here is something called butyrate. Now, butyrate is a short-chain fatty acid that is produced by certain gut bacteria when you digest and ferment fiber. And it plays a powerful role in immune regulation. It really acts as a signaling molecule, influencing how immune cells develop and function. One of the ways it does this is by affecting gene expression in developing immune cells. This is through a process called histone acetylation. What this means in simple terms is butyrate helps to guide these cells to become more regulatory than inflammatory, and that includes your T regulatory cells. But butyrate doesn't just act on the immune system, it actually plays a major role in strengthening and maintaining that gut barrier lining. It's actually the primary fuel source for the cells that line your colon, and it helps to strengthen those tight junction proteins. So when butyrate levels are sufficient, that gut lining is going to be strengthened and remain intact. But when butyrate levels are low, then that gut barrier starts to become compromised and vulnerable, which means things like LPS can easily pass into circulation and continue to drive that inflammatory response. So you essentially have two things happening at once with butyrate. On one side, if you don't have enough butyrate, it's going to weaken that gut barrier, allowing more inflammatory signals like LPS into the bloodstream. And on the other side, butyrate affects your T regulatory cells functioning. So if you have reduced butyrate, it's more likely that those T-Reg cells are not going to function the way they're supposed to. So the amount of butyrate you have affects your gut lining and how your immune system responds. And this is where I want to connect back to what we saw clinically. We would see patients doing a lot of the right things, like eating well, taking probiotics, eating fermented foods. And despite that, they were still showing signs of clear gut dysfunction, because what they were putting in their bodies was just not enough to really correct that gut imbalance. If that gut environment has been affected by stress and medication and even just poor diet from the past, then the microbiome is going to be off, diversity is going to be low, and it's pretty unlikely that just taking a bunch of probiotics is gonna correct that. And in that sort of environment, one of the main issues is that gut bacteria that are responsible for producing things like butyrate aren't really producing enough or aren't functioning the way they're supposed to. And typically we see a lot of low levels of butyrate. So the question becomes, how do we start to shift that gut environment? And the first place that I recommend people start is with fiber. And that's because when you digest and ferment fiber, your gut produces more butyrate. And you don't want to eat just one type of fiber, you want a pretty wide variety, because that's going to feed different bacterial species. You definitely want some resistant starches, so those are things like potatoes, green bananas, legumes, some oat, but also prebiotic fiber from inulin, acacia. You can find this in garlic and onions. It's also good to get in a decent amount of pectin, which you would get from apples. So in general, I tell people don't go crazy trying to figure out every type of fiber. Just make sure that your diet is fiber rich and really aim for 30 grams a day. That's going to help support a more diverse microbiome, and it's going to help support the gut bacteria that produce butyrate. Now, depending on the state of your gut, I realize that eating 30 grams of fiber is not easy for everyone, especially if you already have an inflammatory condition. Fiber is not the easiest to break down, so if your digestion is already struggling, eating just a bunch of fiber might make your symptoms worse in the beginning. And this is where supplementing with butyrate can be very helpful. Now, there are different forms of butyrate supplements, and they differ in how they are delivered and how well they are tolerated. One of the forms that we use clinically is tributyrin. Tributyrin is a triglyceride form of butyrate. It's the most stable and bioavailable form of butyrate, which means it's absorbed better in the body. And one of the reasons for that is because it's absorbed very slowly along your intestinal tract. This allows butyrate to be delivered throughout your small intestine and into your colon as well. So if you are looking to supplement with butyrate, I would just make sure that you use tributyrin as your form of butyrate. Now, there's another piece of this that I don't want to skip here, and that is your nervous system. Gut does not function in isolation. It is directly connected to your stress response. And when your body is constantly in fight or flight, it affects digestion. It actually changes your gut environment, and it can negatively impact the balance in your microbiome. So even if you're doing everything right with diet and supplementation, if your system is chronically stressed, it will affect how your gut functions. And the hard part here is that there is not a supplement that's going to magically take away your stress levels or regulate your nervous system. Doing what you can to manage and reduce stress is really important when it comes to autoimmune disease. And this can look different for everyone. Things like meditation, breath work, walking in nature, listening to music, doing art, going to therapy, spending time with friends, then watching funny movies. All of these things can help to reduce your stress and regulate your nervous system. The key here is to find what works for you, what feels good for you. If the thought of meditating seems stressful, don't do it. Just lean into an activity that brings you joy and helps slow you down. So yes, diet and supplementation can have a huge impact when it comes to autoimmune disease, but just make sure that you're also doing things to manage and reduce your stress as well. So when we zoom out here and look at the big picture, we're not exactly trying to suppress your immune function. We're trying to restore the environment that your immune system is responding to. And that starts in the gut. The main shift I want to leave you with is this. Most conversations around autoimmune disease are just built around the idea that your immune system is overreactive and we need to calm it down, reducing inflammation and reducing triggers. And those approaches certainly have their place, but they are all working within the same frame that the immune system by itself is the problem. And it's not really addressing the immune system's connection to the gut, because your immune system is not static and isolated from the rest of your body. It's adaptive, and it's constantly responding to signals from your environment, especially the gut. For example, your T regulatory cells are not a fixed population. They are being developed and influenced from your environment, including your butyrate levels. We also need to focus, so instead of only focusing on how to calm the immune system down, we also need to focus on how do we restore the conditions, how do we restore the environment that allows the immune system to regulate itself. Because when that gut environment begins to change, your immune system will begin to change with it. Now, autoimmune conditions are complex, and you should definitely continue to work with your healthcare provider on whatever protocol you've been doing. But keep this piece of the puzzle in mind. What's happening in your gut and how that is influencing your immune system matters when it comes to autoimmune disease. So I hope this gives you a different way at looking at your condition. If it did, please let me know in the comments below, and if you have any questions, leave them there too. If you found this video helpful, if you could give me a like, that would be amazing. And if you think this video can help someone you know, please share it. You can find more about everything we discussed in the description below, including our butyrate supplement, the Complete Biotic. Thank you so much for watching, and have a beautiful day.